Hi, and welcome to the Access for ELLs 2025. This is for the test administrators of the WIDA Access for ELLs, the ones who have been certified and turned in their certification to Ms. Gary. The purpose of this assessment is to test kindergarten through 12th grade on a paper-based assessment to access their scores for their ESOL levels. The test is broken up into 4 domains: listening, reading, and writing, and speaking. It is for the purpose to see the student's abilities of speaking and writing about an academic topic. And like I said, it's useful data to see students' progress over time and to see their strengths and weaknesses in English and to identify a proper ESOL level. The new directions that were updated for the spring 2025. If you notice in the first box, you must read verbatimly where it says make sure tests are clear of everything but test materials. And also it goes more into during the test, you cannot use cell phones, smartwatches, any forms of social media and whatnot. And you would read that directly, verbatimly from those boxes. Schedules of activities. I hope you would watch this training, the screencast from February 4th through the 11th, and turn in all necessary documents that we'll talk about in a little bit before February 11th. The actual school-wide shutdown for this test will be February 13th. It is a Thursday. It is to test reading, writing, and listening. All tests speaking individually will be administered by myself, Ms. Gary, a paraprofessional, which can administer the speaking individual test, or yourself if we are able to get you coverage. We will let you know ahead of time. All tests must be returned by March 21st. Students to be tested are all students who have been or have entered our school by January 21st. After January 21st, if a student enters new to our school, to this country, and receives an ESOL level from Ms. Gary's SELA test, then that is what they will have. They do not need to take the WIDA after January 21st. This is the website for the WIDA. Many of you already know it because you took the certification for this test. There's also resources such as the test administration manual, the accommodation manual, and the Florida paper checklist. You are responsible for going over those manuals. I will also email them to you, and the state-specific directions. You're also required to make sure to sign these documents, which I will put in your mailboxes, and you must return to me before the first day of testing. Your test security agreement, secure forms, and the WIDA test security agreement for the company. Your responsibilities as a test administrator is obviously to follow the administration tasks, read the manual, read the accommodation manual if you have students with IEPs and 504s. Also to take the quizzes with a passing grade of 80% or higher. Turn those certifications into Ms. Gary. Also make sure that you are giving the correct test to the right student by reading the label. The students must use a number 2 pencil and verify student data on the test. Make sure that it is their book, like I said. Ensure test security, provide appropriate accommodations to students, and account for and return all materials daily to the test administrator, which is myself, Ms. Arencibia. We all already passed the state certification for this. Proctors will be assigned after 25 students. So after 25 students, you will have a proctor if your testing group is larger than that. And again, remember to please sign all documents that I put in your mailbox to me and return them as soon as possible. What to do before, during, and after testing. Follow test security policies. Test content remains secure. No specific information about the content of the test is shared. Keep personal login information secure. Place all secure materials in a locked storage throughout the day and do not duplicate any test materials. Preparing for the test. As you know, the subtests, there's some that are individual, which is the speaking, and there's some that are group administered. February 13th, we will be doing the group administered test only. Listening first, reading, and then writing. The tests are broken up into clusters and tiers. So first grade only tests with alone. Second grade is alone. Third grade is alone. There could be a combo of 4th and 5th, and a combo of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. They're also grouped into tiers. Tier A is for your ESOL level 1s, and tier BC is for your 2s, 3s, and 4s. Tier 5 is, ESOL level 5 is not tested. On your rosters, it will say the book number, which you must verify that you're giving the correct book to the correct student, student ID, student name, homeroom, ESOL level, current ESOL level, and the tier that they should be testing in. All teachers must make sure that the book matches the tier in the roster. Each domain should be completed the day it is started. Especially in kindergarten, they're the only ones that could take a break between part C and part D. So if you start reading, you must finish reading. If you start the writing, you must finish writing. Test materials. Your students will receive test response booklets that either have a white label or a yellow label. If they have a white label, the only thing that they must bubble in is the date they start testing. If they have a yellow label, they must also, this is where you would put the date and bubble it in. All students must do that with a number 2 pencil. Only students that have a yellow label must write their student name and last name and first name, middle initial, and bubble it in. Reasons for test invalidation. A student is using an electronic device during the testing or in a break. The student engages in inappropriate testing practice such as cheating. A student is not allowed the correct amount of time to finish the test by an administrator. A student becomes ill during the test and does not complete the session. A student is given an accommodation not allowed on the state assessment. A student is given an accommodation not indicated on the IEP, or the student is not provided an allowable accommodation which is indicated on the IEP. If an error occurs in the test administration procedures that could compromise the validity of the test, a major disruption occurs during the test, such as that affects the assessment, or a student is given unauthorized assistance during the test. School administrators, again, must sign all documentations that I put in your mailbox for test security and agreements. They must watch this training and pass the certification. They must familiarize themselves with the test administration manual and the listening and speaking CD and equipment. They should also properly account for the test booklets before, during, and after test. Ensure students are provided accessibility for accommodations. Verify that accurate label is given to the correct student and book is given to the correct student. They must read the script verbatimly. Ensure that all students are given the allowable time. Each student should have a number 2 pencil. Record the acquired administration information, that the completion for the student's domain completion status. Complete seating charts, as well as other required materials like security logs and rosters, and maintain test securities at all times. Report any violations for invalidations or concerns. Preparing the room. You should have your students in rows with good lighting, good seating. Remove all visual aids or cover it up that might assist with reading or language arts. You must have your testing signs up of do not disturb and no electronic recording devices. Security log must be visible for anybody that comes in and out, especially your proctors or administration or myself. There's a universal tool for writing. It's the planning sheet that you will receive during the planning time that students could use. Administrative considerations are available for students with an IEP or 504. Extended time is an administrative consideration and not an accommodation really for a 504. Extended time within the school day can be provided to any student, not just 504 or IEP. During the test, make sure the student's response booklet is received by the correct student. Ensure all students have a number 2 pencil and that they have the correct tier as per the roster. Ensure the proctors and everybody entering your room sign the security log. Follow the teacher administration script exactly. And always maintain test security. After testing, collect all materials and make sure that the students have written in their date. And if they have the yellow label, they have the last name, first name, and middle initial also bubbled in and written. Make sure that they're in good conditions, the test book, and return to me by the end of the day. Keep the test secured and locked throughout the school day. These are the materials you will be receiving in your test box the day of the test. Please make sure to arrive at school early on February 13th. The testing room will be open at 8 a.m. to pick up your materials. You should have a test administration script, students' response booklets for each student, a speaking test book if you're doing the speaking test individually, and the listening speaking CD with a boombox and pencils. You first must administer listening, then followed by reading, then writing, and speaking we'll do individually. This is an approximation of the time that it'll take. Each student may take a little more or less, depending. Okay, there are mandatory practice samples before the actual test begins, so just follow the script exactly as it is. Each booklet is a different color based on grade and tiers. The listening domain, this is a review of what you already took the certification for. So you will have your CD player, you could use your computer, your laptops. It would be a CD. Make sure not to pause the test unless you are done with it. Plan for approximately an hour for the listening test. Make sure that you have the AC adapter cord, if it's the boombox, and that the volume controls are set and everything prior to testing. Arrange your room in a way that you can move around to monitor testing and have students with sufficient space on their desk. Okay, do not read any answer choices out loud. Again, you must stick to the script. Once the listening test has begun, do not pause the audio. 25 seconds response time is included in the audio files. Tone to alert, the prompt to the next question. Check-in time is included as well. Pause only in case of a significant interruption, like somebody's doing an on-call, hopefully not. Okay, or there's a fire drill or there's technical problems. That's the only reason you would stop or pause. For the reading domain, do not read test questions and answer choices. It is not an allowable accommodation, not even for IEPs or 504 students. The test is designed to take no more than 35 to 55 minutes, and you must walk around and circulate the room, checking in as a whole group or individually to students. Make sure that once they come to a stop sign, there is not a second part that they need to get to. Stop signs do not indicate the end of the test. It might just be the end of a section for the reading domain, and they must continue. So confirm to the students that they progress through all parts of the reading domain. Students may be provided additional time to complete the reading domain as appropriate. For the writing, you will receive the planning sheet, like I said. Follow the script verbatimly. Make sure students begin the writing test at an appropriate page. Circulate the room every 10 to 30 minutes. Check in with them as a whole group or individually to make sure that they are raising their hands when they get to the stop signs, and the stop signs do not indicate the end of the test. Confirm with the students that they progress throughout the whole writing test. This is an approximation. This is the procedure. So first grade tier A has 4 parts, and it's approximation of the time, 35 minutes for first grade. Tier A's for second grade and up, are 3 tiers, so approximately 60 minutes. All grades tier BC are 3 sections, approximately 65 minutes for writing. And the speaking will be individually. We will need the CD again, the boombox, okay, the script, the test book, the speaking test booklet, and the student's response booklet. Remember that we would record the responses of students in the student response booklet. The students will be looking at the speaking test booklet. Okay, this is an approximation of how many minutes per student, 15 to 35, and how you should set up your table when doing the speaking test. You should, again, allow to just press play to the CDs. It'll go through the directions and the practice. The virtual test administrator guides the students through the sessions. We do not score the practice test. Okay, press pause after the end of directions and practice. Then you read the script again for the test to begin, and you press play and allow it to guide the students through. And you're recording as soon as you're recording the student response as soon as they are giving you the response. Do not wait. Then the track keeps going on to the next and the next. Do not pause the audio. Allow each track to play one time only. They must listen to it one time. They're not allowed to go back or skip or forward tracks. Help the student if he or she needs assistance navigating or understanding and turning pages. Do not help the student with test content, like paraphrasing. The test administrator may prompt the student to respond or to provide more extended answers. Only use the script language provided in the test administrator script to assist the student. Be objective in scoring. Remember that all responses that they don't know should be scored as attempt. Do not use a separate sheet to record responses. For kindergarten, it is administered individually, and it's more game-like. These are your responsibilities. These are your, always allow time to complete it. Also, again, this is the materials that you'll be using in kinder. It's approximately 45 minutes. It's individual per student. These are your materials. You'll have your storybook, response booklet, test administrator script, student activity board, cards, and card pouches for kindergarten. An idea of how you should set up your table. And again, it goes into detail about each item in the test materials. Parents also have access to the WIDA portal for any information they need. The score reports will go out in September of the following school year. Any questions or concerns, please contact Ms. Arencibia. Also, please don't forget to complete the attendance for this training. It is important to know that you saw it before testing. Thank you.